All right, let's dive right into this explainer. Today, we're putting real-world conversion rate optimization data on the examination table. We're going to treat a local business website, Dr. Watt's Electric Heating and Air, like a patient in desperate need of a health check. We aren't just looking at vanity traffic metrics here. We are diagnosing actual human behavior to see exactly how digital clicks turn into real dollars. Here's our roadmap for the day. First, the starting baseline. Then, diagnosing the leaky buckets, analyzing user engagement, laying out 3 surgical design fixes, and finally, steps for site stabilization. Let's get into it.
Part 1, the starting baseline, where we take the patient's vitals.
28 is our magic number. Over a 31-day stretch from April to May 2026, Dr. Watt's Electric saw exactly 28 unique visitors, basically one person a day. Now, I know what you're thinking, right? That is practically zero traffic. And you'd be totally right. But honestly, that's exactly why we're looking at this. When your traffic is this low, literally every single click is gold. This 28 is our starting line, the before snapshot for the whole growth story. So how did those folks actually get there? Well, the traffic breaks down into 2 totally different camps. 55% of it is navigational, or brand search. These are folks typing Dr. Watts directly into Google because they already know who they're looking for. But that other 45%, that's intentional local service search. These are complete strangers discovering the brand for the absolute first time. And let me tell you, that 45% is our absolute top priority for driving fresh revenue. Looking at the map, the data paints a super clear picture of where this business actually lives. The pulse is pounding in Killeen, Texas, pulling in 27 of those sessions. Killeen is the rock-solid foundation here. Meanwhile, Belton, just 1 single session. It's tiny, sure, but it represents this really interesting trace signal of expansion, a little heartbeat we need to keep a close eye on as the business tries to capture new territory. Moving on to part 2, diagnosing the leaky bucket, looking at symptoms and friction. Okay, the data here should honestly set off alarm bells for any business owner. We're seeing a massive, glaring disconnect between finding the site and actually booking a service. Check out these conversion voids. 71% of people searching specifically for Dr. Watts are bouncing without doing a thing. And it gets worse for those crucial new prospects from local searches, a 75% bounce rate. So loyal fans and brand new leads alike are just abandoning ship, all because the site is making them work way too hard. Which brings us to the million-dollar question, right? Where exactly are these users dropping off? To solve this mystery, we really have to get into the operating room and look at the actual undeniable friction points that are driving them away. And wow, do these metrics show us a leaky bucket in real time. First off, a 15.38% quickback rate. That means people are hitting a wall at the very top of the page and instantly bailing. Then we hit the most severe symptom, an average engagement time of just 14 seconds. Finally, a scroll depth of 56%. Basically, users are skimming for less than a quarter of a minute, and they aren't even scrolling far enough to see the really important stuff, like pricing or trust badges, which are buried way down to page. All right, on to part 3, analyzing user engagement by looking at content and personas. The contrast here is just wild. The homepage gets 54% of the traffic, but it only holds people for about 12 seconds. A quick skim, and they're gone. But look at the calculators. Pages for stuff like security lighting or furnace installation costs. People are spending around 35 seconds there. That completely proves the calculators are the absolute stars of this website. They're keeping folks engaged almost 3 times longer than the homepage. But remember, we aren't just staring at numbers. We're analyzing actual human behavior. Breaking down these visitors shows us that the urgent user on the homepage acts completely differently than the analytical user playing with the calculators. The urgent user's biggest friction point? Clutter. They literally just want a phone number. The analytical user? Tool load latency. They want the calculator to load faster. And the informational folks reading the blogs? They're hitting dead ends with nowhere to click next. That's 3 totally different personas dealing with 3 entirely different roadblocks. Now for part 4, 3 surgical design fixes, otherwise known as our treatment plan. This quote really captures our whole philosophy for this explainer. None of these require rebuilding the site. They are precise edits to what already exists. You know, businesses so often panic and just buy a totally new, crazy expensive website. We are absolutely not doing that. We're just using the data to make incredibly precise surgical patches to fix the leaks without tearing the house down. Okay, fix A, the action-first hero.
For those urgent navigational searchers who already know Dr. Watts, we are aggressively clearing out the clutter. We're ripping out 40% of the text right at the top, the above the fold area, and swapping it out for a massive high-contrast emergency service, tap to call button. Frictionless, immediate access to service.
Next up, Fix B, frictionless pricing. Remember how those calculators held people's attention for 35 seconds? Well, we're bringing that exact magic straight to the homepage. By dropping a teaser snippet of that calculator right into the top sidebar, we immediately give visitors an engaging question to answer. It's a remarkably simple trick designed to bump up that terrible 14-second dwell time. And finally, Fix C, navigational pathing. To plug that 71% leak of loyal brand searchers, we're building them a shortcut. We're adding a super clear path that just says, already a customer, login/QuickBook. This lets them entirely bypass all the standard marketing noise on the landing page. They don't need a sales pitch, they just need to book an appointment right now.
Which brings us to Part 5, Steps for Site Stabilization or Post-Op Care. To keep the site stable and retain those new leads, we have 3 crucial prioritized steps. First, we A/B test moving that call to action higher up on mobile. Second, we optimize that new calculator snippet so it loads in the blink of an eye. And third, we slap a sticky footer specifically onto the Killeen landing pages. These tweaks pretty much guarantee that every single user gets hit with a clear, localized value prop the millisecond the page loads. It directly combats that 56% scroll drop-off we talked about earlier.
As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a thought. Look at your own site right now. Is it a leaky bucket or a data-driven conversion machine? Seriously, think back to those 14-second engagement times and 75% bounce rates we just saw. Are you just staring at your overall traffic numbers and calling it a day? Or could you be completely missing these massive conversion voids hiding right there in your own data? It is time to stop guessing, dig into your analytics, and figure out exactly where your bucket is leaking. Catch you next time.